All right, so my recent Breath of the Wild resurgence has got me thinking about Breath of the Wild 2.
Mm-hmm.
And last week we did five bold predictions about Animal Crossing New
Mm-hmm.
Horizons. This week I want to go with some bold predictions for Breath of the Wild 2. Uh,
Hmm.
we don't know much. There was actually a quote unquote leak of Breath of the Wild 2, some details with a new name and some mechanics and stuff like that. But it was very like questionable because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it related to the trailer or the teaser that we had. So I'm not even going to mention that rumor. But yeah, some bold predictions for Breath of the Wild 2. And I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
I think that there is no multiplayer. There's no becoming Zelda. I think that rumor has to go away. I think the teaser's great. It
Mm-hmm.
shows them together in a dungeon, and everyone's assuming that we can take control of Zelda. And actually, the recent rumor was you can control Zelda in parts of dungeons, so you can like control them both. I don't like this in games. There's a Resident Evil Revelations 2, where it's big on controlling two different characters. They have two different abilities and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I've never liked that mechanic. So I'm gonna go out there and say the first one is you cannot. Zelda is not playable.
They did that in did it? They already did that in a Zelda game. Was it Spirit Tracks or the other one where
Yeah, you,
where you could kind of control Zelda in the dungeons and stuff?
yeah,
Um. Oh man, this is so tough because the problem is so many people are trying to will this into this
yeah.
game. Um. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to 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 have it, but I just feel like shoehorning it in doesn't make sense to me.
Just for
Um,
the sake of doing it, because you
yeah,
know you're gonna be Link the entire game. So why would you just be able to use her in dungeons? It's weird. It
I feel like
doesn't flow.
because then I feel like you set yourself up for a problem where then people are like, well, why can't I use her instead of Link? You know,
Yeah,
why do I have to use her just the dungeons? And why, you know what I mean? Like, you set yourself up for a lot of trouble. There were some false narratives with the original Breath of the Wild where it was like, oh, this is sexist, this is misogynist, this is the man saving the woman. It was like, man, you didn't even play this game. You have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah.
So I tend to agree that we're not going to get Zelda playable in this.
Hmm.
I would look at. I've said it before. I wouldn't mind if they were to say, "Who do you want to be?" and that's who
That'd be
you got to
interesting.
control. I feel this game could take on a kind of Last of Us type vibe,
Hmm.
where it's a companion, where she's with you at all times. Kind of like when you're playing Last of Us, you're Joel and Ellie is kind of running around and she's kind of helping you a little bit. And I would be okay with that. I think that would be unbelievable. Um,
Hmm.
just kind of cool because you would get that back and forth banter and somebody's talking to you all the time. A lot of times, because when you played Breath of the Wild, there's a lot of times where you just felt alone in that game. It would
Yeah.
kind of give you that vibe of like, hey, there's somebody there at all times, just depending on how they handle the AI. So, okay, my first prediction is, um, I basically said this earlier. It's not a 2020 game. Um, I don't even know if this game is a 2021 game, if I'm being honest.
Whoa.
I think that this game, they are going to hold it. They are not going to put it out until they are ready to do a Switch Pro. And I
Hmm.
think that when they do that, when they make that announcement for that Switch Pro, they will say, "Hey, here's Breath of the Wild 2. It'll be playable on the new Switch, the Switch Pro, but also on your current Switch, and that's the way it's going to be." So I think it's something to help push the sales because I think that they learned something very valuable with the release of the original Switch, and that was if you put a Zelda game in there, people are more than likely going to buy the new shiny thing. Um, and that's a game that like you could put out and you don't need anything else to play on it because that's all anybody will be playing anyway. So I think that's and if you're gonna do something with new tech, why not do it? Because here's the thing: Breath of the Wild 1, as clean and as good as it was, it still at times ran pretty bad.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to get that under some new hardware to kind of go like, hey, all the problems we had with the first one, they're not here. They might be here if you play it on your original Switch, but they're not going to be here if you play it on the Switch Pro. And it'd be a perfect way for them to sell the Switch Pro. And I'm calling it the Switch Pro, but I don't know if it's Switch 2, Switch whatever, the new shiny Switch, whatever. But I feel like that's what they're going to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, we're very used to Zelda delays, so this is very possible. Mm-hmm. There's already a rumor that it's being delayed to next year, which actually makes sense. I mean, there's no real reason to rush it out.
No.
Okay. So my third one is water is going to be a big part of this game. And what I mean by that is now that I'm playing Breath of the Wild again, there's some things that I forgot that weren't in the game, like fishing, for one. I always thought that you could fish, but no. You can't fish. You can't go underwater. So I think that there's a big opportunity, and they're going to have to be creative with this game because from all that we know, it's set in the same exact location, probably like years and years later or something like that. So they're going to have to add in some new gameplay elements like fishing, like sailing maybe. I don't know. Like, I just think that water is a big opportunity, especially underwater. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get like a new power or something, but yeah, I think new terrains and stuff like that.
Okay, my fourth. Well, let's tap off a little bit. I agree. I think that they're going to add something, an element to it. I think that they're going to, yes, water makes sense because we didn't really do much in the other one. Even like the boating and stuff was kind of like you get a raft and you kind of use the leaf to go out. I could see them expanding a little bit. Maybe there's some in the bottom. What was the southeast of the map? Was it the majority of the water? I could see them opening up a little bit, like being able to go down rivers and stuff. Swimming more pronounced. The fishing makes a lot of sense. Like seriously, like you could kind of fish, but it's basically you swimming and grabbing fish.
Yeah,
you couldn't actually like throw a rod and stuff. So it'd be kind of cool to be able to. I mean, everybody's fishing now. And I think the one mechanic, shout out to Mark Carabin, he's going to love this. They're going to let you pet the dog. They're going to let you finally pet the dog. So that'll be the one thing. My fourth thing is I feel like temples come into this game. The shrines, I think, will kind of scale back a little bit. You might still have 100 and something shrines, and that's whatever. But I think temples now are going to be the thing. I think we're going to have... because the divine beasts are out and they're done. So you have to have some place to go in order to unlock things. I think so. My feeling is Triforce comes back. We have the Triforce pieces. They get broken. They're already pre-broken up. And when Ganon or whatever this creature is that comes back from the dead, it unlocks. It triggers something similar to the way the triggerment happened around the castle. I think it automatically triggers these shrines or these temples to come up. And it'll be 8 temples. It'll be the 8 pieces of the Triforce. And there we go. That's my
I like it. Yeah. So, like, proper dungeons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I did not like the Divine Beasts.
I didn't feel like the Divine Beasts were very well done.
Yeah.
I feel like the shrines, I liked the shrines, but there was also shrines that I thought were the dumbest thing in the world. And that was, you get there, and it was like, hey, you got here. Here's your free prize. And it was just like, man, like, yeah, okay, I busted my butt to get here, but, like, really, you're just giving me the item? Like, that's...
I like the test of strength ones, like you fight people and stuff like that. There was motion control ones.
There was so much stuff that they did, and I thought I thought probably I would say 80% of the shrines were fantastic.
Yeah.
There was a good 20% that were just garbage. You just walked in and they gave you the item. And it was just like, this just sucks. Like, man, I wanted something. Like, you should have capped this off with a nice little battle. And it would have been nice if they would have changed it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. In terms of, like, they had these mini guardians that were in there. It'd have been nice if they put, like, a big beast that you fought. I think that would have opened it up a little bit. And, you know, you could have had... That's the one thing about Zelda games, was you always had these nice classic battles where you had to figure something... And they did that, you know what I mean? Like, you had the Hinox and all that stuff out in the wild. It'd have been nice if they would have, like, dropped you into a room and was like, here's 3 Hinox, go at it. You know what I mean? Like, do stuff like that. Like, that would have been Or the Lionels. The Lionels were, dude,
Oh man.
they still scare me. I still run from them things.
All right, Bobby. This last one,
Okay,
number 5.
let's hear it.
I think that Link will be voice acted in this game.
Ooh.
So this was one of the things that is jarring when you play this game. It is set up so perfectly to hear Link's voice, and you don't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I think, judging by the teaser, which is not a lot, this is going to be a very story-driven game, which I'm fine with. I like hearing about the lore and stuff, but don't lose that like isolation gameplay type thing, because that was the strength of it. But I think we hear Link say something, or like some kind of dialogue. I think is needed at this point. Like, you have the Link's Awakening, and he doesn't have to say much. Like, no one has to say anything in those games. But this is your big Zelda franchise. This is, the next gen, especially if it releases with the Switch Pro. Give him a voice, and it'll just enhance it so much. It'll be controversial as hell, but I think he gets voice acted.
So if you guys right now, you can send a tweet right now at NintenTalk. You can fire off of him there. You just leave me out of this. So listen, I have been a huge proponent of we need voice acting for Link. But every time you bring it up, man, you get this venomous crowd that just comes in with, it's supposed to be an imaginary voice in your head because you're the link between the game and the player and all. Enough. Like, you have
such a weird thing.
It's so dumb that, like, you have this moment where you're meeting the king and the king's talking to you, and then you're just like staring at him, dumb. And it's like, really? Or you go talk to Impa and she talks to you and asks you these questions and you don't even answer her. It's like, this is so weird. Like, come on, dude. I get you were in a coma and you forget everything. You forget how to talk too. Like, yeah, I'm with you in the point of, like, I would be okay with getting voice acting. And like, and the other thing too is, like, people are just like, oh, well, how do you do the voice? You can't mess with the voice. You can mess it up. You can destroy the. It's like, stop.
He already makes sound effects. You know his voice.
Like, it's not even that. It's like, you could get a good actor to do the role.
Yeah.
Like, just chill. Like, I think that because here's the thing. I feel like the people that are not wanting to hear a voice actor, right? I think you're limiting the things that Nintendo can do. Why do you think we never got an anime or a cartoon or anything? We're never going to get a live action movie. Like, right now they're working on a Super Mario Brothers movie, right? You're never going to get a Zelda movie. What are they going to do? Have him run around for 2 hours not saying anything?
No one wants to take that step. And, like, it is a delicate thing, but come on. This is a basic. This is like PS1 stuff.
Yeah,
like, come on. Voice acting is like,
I think
they should do it.
I'm with you, Pat. I think they should do it. I'd be okay if they did it. So we'll see. I'm sure you're getting people firing up the comments down below, and that's whatever. But
before you type your hate comments, just think about it. Is it a big deal? Would it enhance the story? That's the big thing, because I was trying to think of what criticisms people had, and obviously you said the dungeons. The story was a big knock against Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So let's enhance it a bit. Let's give them some character. I mean, I'm for it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.